Hello, listeners and viewers of the Year Is podcast. We have Patreon exclusive episodes available. It's about 2.5 hours of extra content every month just for you guys. We've had some great episodes. We do a feature called Your Year Was, where you can write in a story of something that happened to you from a year in your life, and we discuss it in the Year Is fashion, and you get to be a part of history. Also, we are doing the Edinburgh Fringe, aren't we, Bobby?
We are doing live shows. The Year Is live for the first time in front of audiences. You can come see us. Get your tickets. Go to our Instagram at The Year Is Pod. There's a link there, and you can get tickets to come see us. We're doing the last week of the Edinburgh Festival, 5 days straight, which is crazy. We're doing 5 back-to-back podcasts. Come see our solo shows. You know, it's on our social media. So come to our solo shows. We're in Edinburgh for the whole month of August. Thank you, and enjoy the episode.
The Year Is with Red and Bobby.
Welcome to The Year Is, the podcast where every episode, me, Bobby Mair, and my co-host, the sweatiest man in the world, blah, blah, blah. Why are you so sweaty?
I had to run up the hill to your house because you text me going, today, can you try and be on time? Even though I've not been on time once. And
Wait,
usually it takes an hour.
You just said.
It takes an hour for Jody's setup.
You just said. You texted me saying, can you be on time? Even though I've not been on time once.
Okay, what I meant to say is I've never not been on time.
Double negative.
Usually I have to sit here
what a command
while
of
Jody
English language.
faffs around for 50 minutes, and I go, I could have just turned up at 12. But this morning I got a very bitchy text from Bobby.
What was it? I just said, Red, can you be here on time because we have to be done by a certain time?
I flicked through many emojis, none of them nice, thinking about a response. I didn't send. The middle finger was considered.
Yesterday you were quite late.
I was 10 minutes late. And then when I got here, we then waited half an hour while Jody fiddled around in here doing God knows what he does every week.
Again, we will do an episode soon where you have to do the setup, and let's see how long it takes.
That's not my thing. So then I got the message, and then I was on the bus, took a while, and then I had to sprint up your hill.
Yeah.
Now it's boiling, and I'm sweating.
So you ran from the bus stop to my house?
Yeah.
That is quite a way.
Well, it's up a hill. It's enough to sweat.
Did you shower this morning?
Yeah, of course I did.
But your hair is that sweat? Is your hair wet with sweat?
No, well, I did shower like right before I got on the bus.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the story behind that.
I just imagined you in a bus stop being showered.
No,
That'd be cool if a bus stop had just that option, you know, and everyone's waiting at the bus stop and someone's like, okay, 3 minutes, I think I have time.
Yeah. It's always weird when you see like a shower in a service section. You're like, God, that's really bad if you...
I was out one the other day, and some guy came into W.H. Smith and said, "Yeah, I want to use the shower," and then he has to give ID, that in case he destroys the shower. I don't know how you could, and then they give him the key to the shower,
mental.
And then he goes in and I guess showers there, and it is there's a bleakness to showering in a service station.
Yeah. It's kind of
I think I'd rather just give myself a gentleman's wash in a truck.
Yeah. What's a gentleman's wash? Just a little bucket.
It's where you wash your balls and armpits in a bucket.
Okay, nice.
with a sponge or a cloth.
You'd keep the same water though, probably for months.
No. After I wash my balls and asshole, I'd throw the water away.
Okay,
that's sensible.
Sometimes at gigs there's a shower in the green room. And
I've always wanted to use it.
Me and Jamali were talking about it, like who uses that, and then he told me he was with someone who did.
I would love just casual small talk. We're talking, and I just take a shower and we keep talking. Although then you feel like Harvey Weinstein. It's hard to not be Harvey Weinstein in that.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a weird. Like the Banana Cabaret has a shower, which is a 15-minute from my house. Yeah. Which would be weird if I just turned up and showered.
Guys,
hey, Red, where do you live? Oh, Camberwell, just up the road.
I'm not good with time management. If I don't do this now, I won't do it for weeks.
Also, doing a gig is like you're very far away from people. It's not like you're doing a kissing scene.
Yeah, I never think sometimes if I forget to wash, I'm like, well, who cares?
Well, I think
stink, but this is a solo job. You'd have to stink quite a bit for the audience to notice.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to winter in a way because just the heat it's been very sweaty. You had any sweats, Jody?
Yeah, I get a lot of sweat too, particularly as my skin's so dry. So I have to put a lot of moisturizer on. So then I'm then sweaty and just wet.
I have
moisture.
that. I put some tea tree oil moisturizer on the other day, and then I walked to meet you, and it was like 30 degrees, and I had a little jog, and then the thing started running, and my eyes were burning with tea tree oil.
We went to Pizza Express.
Yeah.
I like the waitress trying to figure out whose child Mabel was.
Mhm.
Because at first you were holding Mabel, so she thought, this
No,
is
it's
the
just
couple.
Harriet was the surrogate.
Yeah. And we're just
I think that's the vibe
two
given
cool
off.
guys.
Yeah.
just raising
We're
this
not even
baby.
together. We just wanted a baby for the podcast.
Yeah.
We're not gay. We just decided we're very good friends and we wanted to have a kid.
How often?
Do you think that's happened?
I'm just thinking, how often does a man on his own, a single man, adopt a child? That must be so rare.
Yeah. I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
It must, with surrogates, it must sometimes go wrong. Like,
You mean where they actually birth the child?
yeah, and then they must go, actually,
I'd like to have this
fuck
child.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that must happen all the time. Cristiano Ronaldo, like, no one even knows. He, like, paid a woman to, like, have their kid, but then never be known to anyone, and not even the kid. And so, you know, that's going to be a weird conversation one day.
Yeah. But, well, the thing is, when you're that rich, a surrogate actually, it'll be his sperm and her egg.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the surrogate doesn't have any it is literally just a house for the baby to grow in. There's none of the surrogate's biological, like DNA in the baby.
Really?
I said that really confidently.
Yeah.
But I
That
don't
just
know if
sounds
that's
like
true.
normal pregnancy.
But you can insert an egg into somebody.
Okay, but whose egg is it?
Then you could use the mother's egg, technically.
We've had some dumb moments on it. This is probably the stupidest. I count myself.
I don't
in
know
that.
if that's possible.
Someone's probably listening.
Jody, can you Google it?
Yeah.
Can a surrogate have a baby without their DNA being in the baby? Is that possible?
If this is someone's first step, they're switching off now.
no. I think it's Google.
Yeah, Google.
The one day I didn't bring my computer.
Have you noticed Wikipedia? They always ask you to donate money. I never do, even though it's such an important lifeline for us.
I mean, I feel like our Patreon should all go to Wikipedia.
yeah. But how do they survive? Because there's no adverts on it.
Donations.
They can't. Who donates? I'm sorry, it's such a useful source, but I never donate to it.
I feel like the people who donate to Wikipedia are the same kind of people. I don't know. It's just, I don't know who donates to Wikipedia.
No, it's strange. Joe, do you got any facts for us?
Yeah, so the answer is no, a resounding no.
Yeah.
What?
No DNA from the surrogate mother
Okay.
to the baby.
So that's true.
What you said, I believe, is
Oh,
correct. Yeah.
good work, Bobby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm a fucking genius.
Yep. Well done. I don't know.
You just questioned me.
I would never refer to a woman's body as a house for a baby.
Well,
Because I may not be bright, but I am a feminist.
well,
you're very intelligent.
I would say you're a
misogynist.
smart misogynist, but you calling me one, yeah. It feels good to be right.
Yeah, no, good.
I could bask in this feeling for the next
Well, you've had a
hour.
kid. You know more of the facts.
I don't know that much about so we didn't look into surrogacy.
Did you do like courses before you had the kid, like how to hold its head and stuff?
Yeah, you take a course.
Was it boring?
It was useful often.
I wouldn't do that because it's like
There's a lot of pressure to befriend the other people because they're also having a baby, so you have a
Don't.
local support system.
you don't want any friends. In that
And
game.
Harriet really wanted me to befriend these men, and it didn't happen.
Well, that's the thing. As
Nothing
Mabel,
against the men. It's just like being on a blind date. So you're like, "How are you?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "How are you?" And it's like, "Well, I don't know how to spark this friendship exactly."
Yeah. They'll go, "What'd you do?" And you go, "Comedy." And you go, "Oh, I love who's that guy from Liverpool? Kevin Bishop."
Oh, and then I
Bridges,
have
you know.
to hear about this.
No,
for-
Kevin Bishop, John Bishop.
Yeah, hours
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, and you go, "Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm completely different to him. You'd hate my stuff."
I never told them.
No.
Maybe they knew. I don't know, but
But as Mabel gets older, you're going to have pressure. Because the beauty of being a stand-up is you don't have to hang out with people a lot. You know, you see people at gigs, but you just leave.
Yeah.
And then you don't ever there's no work drinks or, you know what I mean? And then now you've got a kid, you're going to have to, Harriet will be like, yeah, Mabel's a really good friend, so you got to meet the dad, and the dad will be an absolute dweeb. And he'll be like, "Oh, so good to be out here away from the women for a bit, Bobby." You know what I mean? Try and crack some jokes with you.
They're never like that though. They're always just like in the group. They just talk about like how much their kid's sleeping through the night. It'd be all like
No, God.
parenting chat, and it's like, guys,
Yeah.
it's very sweet, but it's also like, I don't need to like brainstorm how to get my kid
No.
to sleep with you. I'll
And
just
then they'll be
Google
like,
it.
Sometimes I don't know who's in charge. You know, that's sort of jokes like that. And you'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Can you shoot me? Do you have a gun in your house?
Yeah. There is something about jokes when you're a comic, jokes that are like kind of just like been out there for a long time,
Yeah.
like hacky jokes being said back to you is one of the most painful. Like it's physically painful.
Yeah,
to
your
hear.
toes curl into your shoes.
Yeah,
and
it's
you go,
horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. And you can't even drink your way through it.
No, no. I mean, I could, but we don't know where we'd end up. Let's party, guys. Yeah, I woke up in a ditch last night, Harriet. Thanks for making me hang out with those guys. I have a vague memory of a short-haired man blowing me. He said something about his wife hasn't touched him in a year and he just needs to feel something.
Really made an impression.
Yeah, yeah.
The primary school parents' evening.
I was reading this article. This lady at a school in London, she was like, just waiting for a kid to get in the car, right? And she went to hit the brake. And her story is she just accidentally hit the gas and then plowed into a bunch of kids and parents.
Fuck.
Somehow didn't kill anybody. And by all accounts, a very nice woman. But like, that's got to be hard to come back from.
Oh yeah, that's a tricky one.
But like, really smoked some kids with this car.
Yeah,
It's fucked up. And it's like, what? Like, she wasn't drunk. She wasn't high.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a bad driver.
Yeah. Yeah, that's worse.
Yeah.
That's if they should have breathalyzed her, and if she wasn't drunk, like taken her license away.
Yeah.
Because if she can't be trusted sober,
yeah.
shouldn't be on the road.
It is. Yeah. If someone's drunk driving and they make a mistake, you're like, you might be a good driver, but you're psychological, like you have issues.
Mhm.
Whereas somebody drives sober and is just a terrible driver, there's no fixing that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, today's episode, Bobby, we are going back to 2009.
Okay.
Big year. I started my history degree that year.
Wow. This is so. Just so that, because every time up until now, whenever you've done all the research
Mhm.
for an episode,
Yeah?
it often.
What? So 30 out of the 33 episodes we've done, where I do
No.
pretty much all of it.
No. It's often under-researched.
It's
I would say, and you
such
come in with
bullshit.
such confidence. You come in with such confidence, and then you say your fact, and then you go, "What do you think of that?" And then it's just dead air. So
This is such a lie. I swear I've done pretty much every episode bar last
that
week.
is the story you're telling yourself. So
Mhm.
this is your chance. This episode
Shut the fuck
is
up.
your opportunity to prove I can do the research without anybody looking over my shoulder.
Mate, I'm the engine, the steering wheel, the handbrake, and the accelerator.
Yeah,
of
but
this
I'm
podcast.
the driver,
No,
and without
no,
me,
you're-
you're just
you're the
a fucking
furry-
rust bucket.
You're the furry dice on the wing mirror, on the rear view mirror.
Nobody has those anymore.
Well, when they did, the first thing that could go from a car, it's you.
I think that's the seatbelt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I was
So
at,
this
I was
is
at
your
Kingston
chance.
University.
This is your chance.
Okay. I was at Kingston University. Started my history.
What was the
degree.
year again?
2009.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what were you doing in 2009?
Don't remember.
Why not?
I'm not going to help you on this one. This is your rep.
Okay. What? See, I think that's why we have a problem. I think it gets
No.
weird when it's my research.
2009, I was just doing comedy. I would have been 4 years into comedy.
Mm-hmm. In Canada.
In Canada, having a good time.
Yeah. How good were you by this point?
At comedy?
Yeah.
Very hard to know. In my mind, I was a great comedian.
Yeah.
In reality, I was finding it difficult for anyone to pay me to be a comedian.
Yeah,
So,
okay. I remember
who
after my
knows?
first gig, I was like, I'm fucking good at this. And then I found a video of like my second gig ages ago. I need to find it again. And what I thought was doing well isn't. It's like 3 laughs, you know?
Yeah.
And you realise, oh, I was shit. Yeah, I just started Kingston University, which led me on the long, windy road to being on this podcast and being an authority on history in the academic world.
Okay.
Yeah, and internationally as well, because we do have some listeners abroad.
How old were you in 2009?
1989, 11. I was 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't. That was a long answer to take 1989 and add 20.
Well, I haven't got much research, so I'm stringing it out.
Oh, I see. No, you said
So
you've got lots.
if I take ages, but it was a big year. First thing of the year, Michael Jackson died, 25th of June. Unfortunately, do you remember Farrah Fawcett?
Also died.
She died on the same day as Michael Jackson. That is bad, isn't it? Like, you've done a lot with your life. You're like, I'm going to be remembered, and then you die on the same day as
One
Michael
of them
Jackson.
was the inspiration to tons of young teenage boys masturbating.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one jerked off a lot of teenage boys.
I wanted to get through this podcast without mentioning
Michael Jackson being
nonsense
a
once.
pedophile.
No, can we just focus on his work for 1 second?
That's
for
a bit
God's
boring.
sake.
It's hard to focus on someone's work.
No, I just thought maybe we can have a mature conversation about his singing career and not bring up any of that stuff.
It's really hard.
Seconds in, you've ruined it all.
Look at the guy. He was a ghoul. He looked so
he was
weird.
a brilliant entertainer. He was misunderstood, and he didn't have a
I
childhood.
think he was
Bobby.
understood.
He was understood.
He was understood.
Yeah,
as
he's
a
understood,
guy who
but
can
we
really
turn
sing.
a blind eye because he could fucking sing.
I don't think we turned a blind eye. He was on trial quite a few times.
He paid them off. Does that
Listen.
not give him any leeway?
He didn't pay them off. He just paid them because he was innocent and couldn't be bothered to tell everyone constantly.
But he died. Unfortunately for Farrah Fawcett, she died on the same day. Do you remember where you were when Michael Jackson died?
No.
I do. I was in a campsite in France. Where were you, Jody?
I was at Glastonbury Festival.
Oh, I bet
and-
it's big there.
Yeah. So the news just started going around. Then obviously for the rest of the weekend, there was just Michael Jackson covers everywhere. People playing Michael Jackson. People making T-shirts at the Glastonbury Festival. I was at Glastonbury when Michael Jackson died.
Were they selling them?
Yeah.
That's
Mate,
I
how
like
did
that
someone get
hustle.
that to print? That is amazing. Whoever did that
That's
is
great hustle. It's amazing hustle to just be like, okay, Michael Jackson is dead. How can I profit off of this in the next 24 hours?
Yeah, let's get to but he would have gone from the minute he found out.
Yeah.
I need these T-shirts now.
Yeah, and then just
I need
start
4,000 of them. Boom, boom.
boom.
That guy is. I would love
He's
to know what that guy's done since. I bet he's there at every.
Do you remember how much he
disaster.
sold them for? I assume it's a man. He, she.
Well, I guess they'd go for what, 25 quid, something like that.
You're making them for 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The quality it's probably
He
not
would have
top.
been on the phone like, no, it's going to the print company right now. I don't have 36 hours.
Yeah.
I'll come and fucking print them
No,
myself.
he's probably ironing them at his
Yeah,
campsite, just like fucking every one of these is $20.
Yeah,
I'm
God.
making 1,000.
Yeah, I think he would have had his own print. Yeah, at the
Yeah.
festival
That is,
itself. Yeah.
it's so impressive.
Get on it. Because
I-
what would the T-shirt say before? And he's like, no, fuck that.
I feel like I've never
Mm.
capitalized from a catastrophe.
No, I haven't
So
either.
I was really annoyed at the beginning of COVID. I was like, oh, this is my time economically I could really make some money because I knew the stock market was going to tank and I'd never bought in and I had a bit of cash.
Mhm.
And I was just too afraid.
Yeah.
But if I would have done it, I could have been rich, and I just have to live with knowing my fear
Mm-hmm.
prevented me from extreme wealth.
Mm-hmm. That's why we will remain not wealthy because of the extreme fear. Whereas the true killers just go in.
I know.
They have no fear.
I know. Maybe a bit.
Mm. But yeah, also that year, David Carradine died, star of Kill Bill. Died in mysterious circumstances. Do you know about this?
Ninjas.
Yeah. Well, that's what his wife said. So he was caught hanging and wanking. He was doing the asphyxiation wanking thing in a hotel room. I think usually with that you need a buddy system because it can go wrong, and it did, and he died, unfortunately. But yeah, as you said, his wife said he didn't die like that. He was killed by ninjas.
Which I think that's a good wife.
He got too good at kung fu. It was actually his ex-wife. It's like, why did you ever leave this woman?
Yeah.
He got too good at kung fu.
That's a loyal lady.
Yeah, brilliant woman. What an amazing Rosie and Harriet would never come to her if they'd be like, no, he's wanking, the little creep. But she said, no, he was just so good at kung fu, the triads had to kill him and make it look like what, they go and kill him, hang him, and then one of them grabs his hand and...
Well, so clearly he wasn't that good at kung fu.
No.
He was overtaken and
yeah,
forced...
he was.
And also he was forced to masturbate before they hung him.
Yeah. It sounds like he's not good at all.
You're just in a group of gangsters. Okay, we got to kill Carradine. Really? Yeah, he's too good at kung fu. Fuck. Okay, I didn't know he was that good at kung fu. Yeah, we got to kill him. Okay.
No guns.
No guns. What? We got hand to hand. It's got to be hand to hand. There's got to be we can only get 3 of us in there, or else the cameras in the building will arouse suspicion. Interesting, you use the word arouse actually, because before you kill him, you need to subdue him, and then force him to masturbate before you hang him. What? Yeah. You got 3 of you in hand-to-hand combat. Have to subdue him, not bruise his body in any way, but best him, so that he realizes the only way out of this is for him to masturbate and hang himself.
Yeah, and so the only person who knows the truth is his wife, his ex-wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had quite the career. He was one of those 70s stars, that sort of a bygone era, when you'd be on TV for like 10 years.
I loved him in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed him being Bill. He was a good Bill.
Karate Cop. I think he was like Tarantino's like childhood hero, He does that with quite a lot of people. Like he did it with, who's the guy in Miami Vice? Dom Johnson, is it? Yeah, he brought him back for like, what was it? Jamie Foxx film. Django Unchained.
Django.
Yeah, so he likes bringing back these like 70s stars, which is nice of him. 2009, News of the World reports that Prince Harry was filmed using racist language towards a Pakistani member of his army platoon. Harry swiftly apologized amid widespread condemnation. So this is Prince Harry, who's now in California raising rescue chickens and doing podcasts. Actually, the only royal in recent times caught on tape being racist.
I would imagine that's less of the only royal being racist.
Caught.
Yes.
Caught.
The only royal dumb enough to do it on tape.
Yeah. But it's just quite funny that he's now like,
well,
the royal family is racist.
People can evolve.
They can.
I mean, I actually have, if someone grows up in a racist institution, then I would say, if when they're like a kid, I kind of give them a pass up until a certain point. And then if they're like that when they're 40, you're like, okay, that's who you are. And how old was he at this time then?
I don't know. How old is Harry now?
I keep asking how old people are.
Can you do a quick Goog?
Blows your mind.
He's 2 years younger than me, so that would be 38.
Okay, so back then he was 25.
That is a bit old then.
Yeah.
That I thought like 17. And
but the other thing, what's bad about it is that he...
We know what's bad about saying racial slurs.
No, but what's even worse about it...
Wait, Red, what's wrong with saying racial slurs? Can you break it down for our audience? They might not know.
No.
Our audience might be sitting there thinking, what's the problem exactly?
They when done ironic... No, I'm joking. The problem, what makes it worse is that he's not even in the army. Everyone who's around him suddenly becomes 10 times the target they were before. He's literally dicking around, cosplaying. We've said this before. He's in uniform. He's got a weapon, probably. It's probably not loaded, And so this poor person has to stand around him being called what I can only assume was the P word
Pristine.
by Harry, who's this little jerk prince he's got to fucking look after.
I knew a guy who did comedy for a while. He was in his regiment.
What, in Harry's regiment?
He's a nice guy. Everyone got along with him.
Unless you were from Pakistan.
Well, I don't... Listen, I didn't get into the specifics.
Was your friend white?
What do you think? So, when I was doing a gig with him, he does this joke about Diana. And I don't remember the joke, but it was like a brutal joke about the car accident. And then he gets off stage, and I was like, wait, weren't you in Prince Harry's regiment? He was like, yeah. I was like, don't you think it's kind of mean to do a joke about your friend's mom horribly dying in a car accident. He was like, do you think he'd be mad if he saw it? I was like, yeah, I think he'd be pretty mad.
Definitely.
I mean, if it was my mom and a friend of mine was mocking her horribly painful death in a car, I'd probably be upset.
Yeah, I can see that. I thought you were going to say he ran it by Harry, and Harry said it was okay.
No. He said to me, should I run it by him? I was like, I think you should just not do it.
I don't think someone's not going to be allowed at the palace anymore.
I'm not trying to, like, censor comedians. I'm just saying, like, don't mock one of your friends' dead moms. It seems mean.
Yeah. No, I remember all this happening. He's 25. To be honest, I think
I'm not giving him a pass because he's 25. I was just curious more.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying people can
still
grow. People can grow. Like, just because someone...
he probably wasn't the only person who did it, and he was egged. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
No,
But
I think
I do think that, like, it's okay if he made mistakes when he was younger, and now he's trying to be a force for good while getting millions of dollars to do it.
Yeah.
I think
Going on
the
Oprah.
best way to be charitable, if we want to encourage people to be charitable, the best thing you could do is give them millions of dollars to be charitable. That's really helpful. I think a lot of people just work in their day-to-day lives, then spend time with their families. They don't necessarily have the time or the resources to help others.
Yeah.
If we just gave them millions of dollars, then maybe they'd get to be more compassionate.
Yeah.
As a brand, that would be their brand.
Yeah. No, I agree. What's interesting about this, though, is that this was the scandal. But what they were doing is shooting people. That he was in the army. So they're shooting people from Pakistan and Afghanistan and stuff like that, members of the Taliban. But the scandal was that he used a slur. Do you know what I mean?
It's very funny.
It's weird.
I don't know. I'm a white man, but I would much rather be called any word than be shot in the face and bombed and have my family's wedding firebombed.
Yeah, by Harry in a fucking super jet.
Listen, we were firebombed today. Most of your family is dead, but rest assured, none of the people who did it were racist.
Yeah. I shot 100 people of color is worse than calling.
Whoa! Don't say people of color.
But is that the
no? I don't know if it is.
Correct term now, isn't it?
No, I don't.
It was a week ago. By the time this comes out, might not be. It is at the moment because I see it on the internet.
Okay.
I saw it on Twitter. And
I don't think you should go to those sites anymore, Red.
I'm not going on Reddit.
I think it's BAME. Isn't it?
I follow left-wing Twitter, so that is the term everyone uses. But the point I'm trying to say is that's not more acceptable than I shot no one, but here's a slur against this guy, you know? I don't know where I'm going with this.
I think you made your point.
Yeah, I think I have as well.
You made it very succinctly.
Thank you very much.
There was a great point. Did you think about that last night when you were in bed?
No, not at all. I literally just came to me now.
That's amazing.
I'm very smart.
Oh
That's why I do the podcast.
You're
That's why I've got a degree. That's why I was in top 20 jokes of the Fringe.
Before the Fringe just started.
Yeah. Do you know the top comment under my joke?
What was that?
This guy said, "If this is the best they can do, count me out. I'm not coming." I love it when they just go, "I need to be heard," and I will be. In the comments section of the Telegraph, this woman was like, "Thank God for you lot. I thought I'd lost my sense of humor for a minute. Then I saw the comments, and now I feel like I haven't, and the jokes are bad."
And what joke was it that they wrote?
It's just a shark attack joke I used to do. I don't even do it anymore.
It's not even in this show, is it?
It's not even in the show.
What's the joke?
I can't do
It's
the
written down,
I
Red.
know, but I can't do it. It's too... Just go on my Instagram, at Red Richardson 1. You can see all this cool
It's
stuff
written
there.
down. What's the joke?
I said I was watching a shark documentary, and the guy said, "You know, sharks are more scared of us than we are of them." And then I go, "Really? I don't think sharks stay up all night watching documentaries about me." Used to do well. It's a fine joke. It doesn't need to be written down. It doesn't need to be in the paper.
I think it's very good.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, we have a new sponsor this week. It's DBT UK. If you don't know what DBT is, it's a form of therapy that really helped my life. A few years ago, I had a complete mental breakdown. I was running around a fucking roundabout screaming. I was crying randomly. I was suicidal. I tried everything. And then I went and I did DBT, and it changed my fucking life. It was originally developed for people with borderline personality disorder, but they figured out that it works for lots of people, anyone really that is struggling with emotional dysregulation. If you can't control your emotions, and or your behaviors, this can really work for you. So I would really 100% recommend it. Like if you want to just message me and ask if you're going through something, message me and I can tell you how it worked for me. If you want to just email them, then email info@dbt-uk.co.uk. And if you mention the promo code YEARIS, you will get half off on your initial assessment. It's a really worthwhile form of therapy that I cannot recommend enough.
On to the next thing. The MP's expenses scandal. Do you remember that, Jody?
Yeah, I very much remember.
Bobby
yeah.
would have been in Canada. So what happened is a whistleblower rang an former SAS officer major, John Wick was his name, no joke.
Can I just say, can we just rename these people? Whistleblower is so like...
I like it, isn't it?
Beep, just blowing a whistle. Like,
I like the... I know, I've never thought of it like that, but it's
like
quite
that
good.
is...
When you go, I'm the whistleblower.
Who the original person...
Yeah, but there's always such juicy stuff after it.
Because someone blows a whistle and it stops a game. Is that the implication?
No, they go, look over there. You know, I think it's more like on the beach sharks whistleblower.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You think it's a shark?
I don't know. But the guy was called John Wick, which is interesting. SAS guy called John Wick. Anyway, he was the owner of a London-based risk management company. And he was the middleman for the unnamed, still to this day, unnamed whistleblower.
It was me.
The person on the end of the line told him he had a hard drive which contained details of every MP's expense claims over the past 4 years. Every receipt, every claim, and every piece of correspondence. So basically, it turned out that loads of MPs in both Labour and Conservative were like claiming their gardener as expenses on the taxpayers' money, like mortgaging their second home, saying it was their first home on the taxpayers' money. And this hard drive appeared and loads of people got in shit.
Well, I know that because what I just said, if you were listening, was...
You were the whistleblower.
I was the whistleblower.
From Canada.
Well, what a lot of people don't know is I say that I moved here in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Unofficially,
Mm-hmm.
I lived here long before that.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for the government.
I'm sure.
I was the architect.
Well, you might be such a wild... They go, oh, no one would think he'd work for the government.
I was the architect of the war in Iraq.
Yeah?
I was the architect of the war in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. You organised the Downing Street Christmas party during lockdown?
I did that. But my biggest shame is when I exposed all of my friends and their spending habits to the public.
Why did you do it?
Well, I felt that...
You just have a thirst for trouble.
They were making more money than me. I wasn't necessarily paid. I just was told, listen, you can be involved, but we can't pay you.
Yeah.
So everyone else was getting paid to help govern, and I wasn't getting any money, and I thought this isn't fair. And they were claiming all these expenses. Oh, they had gardeners. You know what? I didn't have a gardener. I lived in a bedsit.
Yeah. With
no
garden.
Listen, I'm on a phone call with Bush. I'm on a phone call with Blair. I'm talking to Gordon Brown.
Bin Laden.
I'm talking to Bin Laden saying, don't do that again.
Stay in the cave.
Well, it was a house, actually.
Yeah, by the end of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was doing all of that from a bedsit in Tottenham. I was jealous. So I outed these people and did it. You know what? I didn't get hired. They didn't actually pay me after that, so it was all for nothing.
Okay.
But for the sake of the whistle that I blew, could you tell the public what happened?
Yeah, loads of people, loads of politicians. Turns out they were absolutely raking in expenses. They'd like have travel expenses that were thousands and thousands of pounds. They go, oh, this is my house that I need to pay for. And it turns out it's 8 miles away from their second house and they're paying off the mortgage of this house with the public's money. Tony Blair's expenses were shredded by mistake when they were the subject of a legal bid to have them published. He is such a piece of shit. I don't care, where you sit politically, but that guy is a fucking
His expenses
lizard.
were shredded by mistake.
By mistake. So what was happening is he was
My friend Tony,
Mm.
again, everybody makes mistakes. And he, if you're a guy who's not used to shredding documents, you go to shred some old documents, you accidentally shred very pertinent ones that are needed
Mm.
by an inquiry right now.
Well, what happened, I heard, is that he was making a Sunday roast and banoffee pie for dessert, so he had bananas everywhere. And he basted the chicken before he put it in the oven. He had oil on his hands and he basted it. And then he went to walk. They going, oh, we need your papers. And he's like, sure. So he picked up his expenses and he slipped on a banana that was from the banoffee pie. And because he had oil in his hands, his documents slipped and fell in his shredder.
Well, what if that is what happened?
Well, I
and
think
it's
it
just
is
a really hard story to tell people. What if that is what actually happened? You're saying it mocking. What if that's really what happened?
I'm not saying it mocking it. I'm saying that's probably what
Oh,
happened.
yeah, well.
I love that he's still on the scene. It's like, you did an illegal war, you did all this shit, and then you're there like, I think Boris is immoral. It's like, yeah, of course he is, but you can fuck off as well. Do you know what I mean? Ted Bundy prosecuting Ian Huntley. It's just like, nah, you both belong in the prison.
Yeah.
Fucking arseholes. Same with Alistair Campbell. He's got the #1 podcast. I've said this before, I don't care. He's a mass murderer, and his podcast is more successful than ours by a long way. It's called Talking Politics or something like that with an idiot Rory Stewart. How many people do we have to kill to get this podcast to #1?
I would like to clarify for libel reasons. Alistair Campbell perhaps did espouse the benefits of the Iraq War, but personally has not killed anyone himself.
Well, as we know,
Red was speaking in jest.
Yeah, okay. He sexed up documents that led to the Iraq War. He basically was the PR for the Iraq War. Since then, he's taken
I
Qatari
don't have any
money.
knowledge personally of whether or not these documents were sexed up.
They were called sexed up documents. Thank you, Jody. They were very sexed up. They said that Saddam had a 24-hour boner in them. Was always wearing thongs. Alistair Campbell's weird fantasy. And that's why I went to war. Because of how sexy Saddam was.
I mean, they wanted to get near him.
Yeah. But anyway, that's life, weirdly, as a TV program. In a world where we stop enjoying people because they do bad things, he's #1 and should be. But still, he's there. Well done. Yeah, some lady, what's she called? Let me have a look. Margaret Moran decided not to contest the next election and was also barred from standing for Labour. I'm going to not contest the next election because I'm barred from I've decided not to contest.
Was she an MP then?
Yeah, she was a Labour MP. She
what were her expenses then?
She spent $22,500 of taxpayers' money treating dry rot at her and her partner's seaside house in Southampton, about 100 miles from her Luton South constituency. Only days after switching her second home to his to Southampton. Yes, only days after switching her second home to his Southampton property, Moran's partner had worked in Southampton for 20 years when the claim was made. So her and her partner are just sort of like using the money to like deal with second homes and stuff like that. She then she got a call from the Telegraph. When Telegraph called her and questioned her about her expenses, she said, "How dare you?" and hung up. And then she said that she couldn't stand trial and was declared unfit to stand trial because her mental health was bad. Her mental health was profoundly affected by the scandal. Which, how is that a fucking get out? Like, I'm sure being on trial is stressful. It's not meant to be good for your mental health.
I think, what was her name again?
Margaret Moran.
My friend Margaret. The thing about Margie.
What was her name again? My friend Margie.
Me and Marge. Okay, yes, I had dry rot in my house. Mm-hmm. Again, they weren't paying me. So, did I fall in love with Marge, or did I need access to this money?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But I felt a passion for her.
Yeah.
What did she look like?
I didn't look what she looks like is irrelevant.
No, but I was just going to talk about why I was attracted to her.
Okay, should I see what she looks like?
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd have to go into that.
Well, you didn't do the right research.
Well,
I thought she looked like Michael Jackson for a moment there.
Oh,
That's the page you
really?
brought up.
maybe she's got an OnlyFans, Bobby.
The thing about...
Oh, there she is. Yeah, she looks like she steals money.
Let me look at Marge.
She looks like she drinks Pinot Blush on the taxpayers' money.
The thing about Marge is she had beautiful blush cheeks and piercing eyes. And when you looked into them, you didn't think about the dry rot in your house anymore.
No.
You thought about the throbbing wetness
Oh, Jesus Christ.
emanating from you.
I'm trying to do a serious fucking podcast,
When you-
and this is just...
Marge titillated me.
Oh, gee.
Marge and me, it was a passionate affair. And the thing is, I felt guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship fell apart after that.
And why was there dry rot? What was the...
Well, I don't really know the why of dry rot. Dry rot sometimes is just there. Things are dry and it rots.
Mhm.
And she said that her mental health was failing because of this case. But in reality, Marge was upset about our breakup.
Okay.
And she missed me just hovering atop her and kissing her neck and whispering sweet nothings into her ear. That's what Marge... So Marge missed my body and my scent. And
Okay.
she was in with... You ever meet a heroin addict like a couple days after they just quit cold turkey?
No, I haven't.
That's what Marge's pussy was going through.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at this one of her blowing her nose outside court.
Yeah, you say that. Do you know how much coke we did the night before? She was that's like blood into that Kleenex. That was we had broken up, but we came back together and we're just
So she was
hitting it
56
hard.
and you would have been, what, 25?
age is not relevant when you're
Fucking hell.
just... Do you know how fun it is to have sex with someone that you know can't get pregnant? I mean, no one ever talks about that. Some people are like, ew, an older woman. It's like, you can just be free.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So what ended up happening to Marge? I can't
She
remember.
didn't have to stand trial because she said it's a mental health.
So
was bad.
she never stood
But then surely
trial,
anyone
my
could do that.
Margie.
Why didn't Saddam Hussein say that? This
well,
is actually really
he was tried
stressing
in
me out.
Iraq. It was
Yeah.
a different country with
Yeah,
a
they're
different
not as
legal
progressive
system.
as we are with the
No.
mental health.
Poor Margie. Where's Margie now, I wonder? Can we
I can have a
check
look.
on her? I'm just more now. It's a trip down memory lane. I wonder, where is my Marge?
She might have blocked you, Bobby.
Well, she did block me on every platform and change her phone number.
Oh, she attempted to remove expenses scandal from her Wikipedia page.
My Marge, always looking
Mhm.
forward, doesn't like looking back, which is why she won't speak to me at all.
Yeah, she exploited interns. She did a lot of stuff.
What?
She married a long-term partner of 30 years in 2009 who lives and works at Southampton.
that guy. We don't need to
Michael
talk about
Booker.
that guy.
Her personal interests include, I feel like you know, Bobby, I can't say this word, sleeds. What the fuck is that?
What?
Try and say that. It's in Gaelic. It's a traditional Scottish or Irish social gathering. In its most basic form, it simply means a social visit. Well, that's not interest. That's hanging out with people.
Could you maybe like read a sentence
It
before you
usually
read
involves
it? You know?
dancing and playing Gaelic folk music, either at a house party or at a larger concert. It's called a...
I don't know. We usually just listen to Led Zeppelin while we fuck. I
silly-
wasn't like...
Oh, Jesus Christ. Can we stop this bloody sex Margaret Moran stuff?
It's me, Red.
Mhm.
Margie. I knew her
Mhm.
well. You now know her. You can call her Margie.
Lots of people got caught up in this. Dave Cameron, all sorts. Actually, I remember Anthony Steen, who was the MP for Totnes when I lived there. He built a moat in his house, and he said, "Of course, the public are angry. My house looks like Balmoral," and he got to step down, which I think is unfair. No,
Because he was funny about
well,
it.
if you'll just admit that you're a piece of shit, you know what I mean. Sometimes you just go, "Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit
No,
of a dog."
but that's the Trump and Boris effect.
yeah,
you know?
I suppose.
No, that's that people should just because people don't have shame doesn't mean they shouldn't.
Yeah, I
be
just
punished.
prefer it. I prefer it. Celebrity chef Keith Floyd dies of a heart attack. Many deaths this year. Do you know about Keith Floyd?
Tell me everything about Keith.
He was
Around that time, again, me and Marge.
Bobby, can we just absolutely stop this?
Me and Marge were.
Oh my
just,
God!
It was just a passionate time, so I don't really remember much about this Keith fellow.
Keith Floyd was a celebrity chef.
Okay, I'll say this. One time, she invited someone else into the room. She said he was a chef. He overdosed. It could have been Keith. I didn't get his name, but I left quickly as I didn't want to be implicated in the death of a chef.
Okay, Keith Floyd was a chef who he was like one of the first like celebrity TV chefs. Notorious pisshead.
That makes sense as to why he really wanted to film the whole encounter. He liked to film all of his cooking. And I would say what he did to Marge, I'd call it cooking. Because there was some heat being generated.
What are you up to tonight, Jody?
I might go watch some comedy. Are you performing some comedy?
Yeah, but you sold out, mate.
All right.
So
I'm not doing anything tonight.
Tell me about Keith.
Keith Floyd was a celebrity chef. He bought a pub in Devon where I actually worked. It was one of my first jobs, called the Maltster's Arms in Tuckenhay, Devon. And he owned it for like 10 years. He owned it before I got there. But he bought the crocodiles from the set of Full Metal Jacket and put them in the river, which was quite cool.
Live crocodiles?
No. Fake ones.
Oh.
But he would get drunk every night, notorious drunk, and he would kick people out like of his restaurant at like 9 o'clock. If he was in a bad mood, he'd go, everyone fuck off. And people would be like halfway through their starters.
Was the food good enough that you would still go
I think
back?
everyone went for the experience of like just being on a knife edge. Okay. But he thought people were stealing booze from him. So he set up a camera in his wine cellar and recorded for a week and then watched it. And every night about 3 a.m., he'd stumble into the cellar and grab 3 bottles of wine and then could disappear with them. But would get so blasted drunk, he wouldn't realize it was him stealing his own booze.
It was like a Tyler Durden situation.
Yeah, basically. It was like, who's stealing all my alcohol? And then he had another chef come in who slept with his wife. He's now quite famous. Let me see. I think it might have been Marco Pierre White. Don't quote me on that. Can you do a quick Google, Jody? Yeah, just put Keith Floyd.
Where was Keith? How was Keith? Was he found? Where was he found?
What, dead?
Mm.
Oh, I don't going to tell you because you're going to end up saying something ridiculous about Marge. It's not true. You never slept with her. You've not heard of her until today. And we're trying to get on with the podcast.
Red, the podcast. Listen, I just want to know how Keith died.
We're going to find out now. It was probably from alcoholism.
Well, where was his body found? I want to know where they took
Died
him.
of a heart attack, 65.
That makes sense.
In Dorset. But I remember working at the pub and I got loads of calls from the press and stuff saying.
Were you there at the time?
Yeah.
You were at his pub when he died?
Yeah, and loads of journalists rang up asking for quotes about Keith Floyd.
And what did you give a quote?
I said, I don't really know, mate, I'm sorry. Because he left like 10 years before I got there. But he was like a legend, you know? So it was a big day.
A sad day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, whoever had sex with Margie that night, it could have been him, it could have been someone else. I don't know what happened to him, but he did look really tired afterwards. He was clutching his chest.
Any news, Jody?
No, I'm having trouble finding that. It's quite hard because I think he was married 4 times. So.
Yeah. One of them was like a porn star who cheated on him. 22nd of October, 2009, British National Party leader Nick Griffin made a controversial first appearance on the BBC One political debate programme Question Time. I remember this because I was at university. There was marches against it. People were so like, don't put the fascist on the BBC. But what happened was, do you remember Nick Griffin?
I do. He had a cooking show on YouTube. I was a big fan of that.
It's like a racist cooking show.
And then after becoming a fan of the cooking show, I found out, oh my God, this guy has political views. And they're also cool. Like, I didn't know.
I remember the cooking show. There was one episode I watched. He was like, he goes, we're going to make a proper British stew. You know, we all like Mexican food. We all like tacos and burritos. Just don't want 20 of them moving in next door. How are you making cooking racist? Quite impressive. Good old British stew. But he went on Question Time and he just got absolutely slaughtered. Like, that was the end of him as a force, you know? You know how like Farage has somehow stayed in the fucking
I think he's done now.
Yeah, but he's like smoke in the walls.
Politically,
You know
he's
what I mean? He's just sort of tarry stain. Whereas Nick Griffin was just like completely gotten rid of after this, which was kind of an argument for, put these guys on and show us how stupid they are. You know,
It doesn't always work.
it doesn't always work, no. But Nick Griffin was just so. What did he say? I can't remember. There was a bit when he's like, "I'm not homophobic. I do think two men kissing in public is creepy." It was just like he was proper like backward right wing fucking moron. I think I don't know what he does now. Did you shag him, Bobby? Have you got a story about fucking Nick Griffin you can talk about for the next 10 minutes?
Okay. I just would like to say that it's not really fair to constantly mock my relationship with Margie and just assume just because I had one relationship with one woman you happen to bring up before I did comedy in this country that you should now shit all over my other relationships. And I never had the pleasure of having sex with Nick Griffin.
Okay. Well, he what's he doing now? He's a Holocaust denier. Surprise, surprise.
That's his job, is it?
Yeah.
No, okay, wake up at, listen, 8:30, do I think the Holocaust happened? I do. At 9 a.m., though, when I clock in, I deny. I clock out at 5. By 5:30, I remember the Holocaust actually did happen. I'm a 9 to 5 Holocaust denier.
So he hates Islam. He hates the Jewish people. He called Stephen Lawrence, who was a teenager, got murdered here and took age. It was a horrible racist attack. Called him a drug dealer and a bully who stole younger people's dinner money. Where he got that info?
I hope this Nick Griffin guy, you know what? I don't wish him well.
No, I don't either. It's weird that he sort of...
I know Trump said to Ghislaine, I wish her well.
Yes.
You know, you see Ghislaine, she's going to minimum security.
I mean, yeah.
That's her reward for being a good, quiet girl.
So what does that mean? Is it she gets like a...
Minimum security means you are still in prison. You go to your cell at night, or maybe room. You might not have a cell. You might have like a room with a door that locks at night. But you're not like, it's not our idea of prison. You know, there's play. You have kind of freedom within this complex. You can do some athletics. You can do some work. But I think that is her definitive reward for being a good, quiet girl and not ratting anybody out.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, I would imagine that sex traffickers possibly shouldn't go to minimum security prison right away.
I wonder if Bill's sent her like an Xbox or something. You
know? I feel like she's
Clinton.
She's definitely going to get something. And Trump. And Bill Gates. And who else? Lots of people.
He said there's no such thing as a black Welshman. Okay. What is he doing now? I can't see what he's doing. Oh, he global warming's a hoax. They always come
okay
hand in hand. He calls the Holocaust the hoax.
Well, the thing is, making up new words is not really his thing, because it's a terrible term, the hoax.
He told undercover journalists that he'd updated Richard Verrall's booklet. Did 6 million people really die? That's a booklet that you can get. Fucking hell.
Also, what's crazy about that is no one's saying 6 million people died in the Holocaust. They're saying 6 million Jewish people died in the Holocaust. Also, on top of that, a lot of other people died in the Holocaust. He just hasn't even read the thing he's denying. Like, he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't. So this is what he's doing now. Griffin's family lives in Shropshire. He's married to Jackie Griffin, a former nurse who also acts as his assistant. The couple have 4 children, some of whom have been actively involved with the party. Great. He was declared bankrupt in 2014. In March 2017, Griffin expressed a desire to emigrate to Hungary within 6 months. In May 2017, Griffin was banned from Hungary as he was perceived to be a national security threat. So, he's fucked. He lives in Shropshire. His wife's probably an absolute hag.
That's sad that he had a dream and it didn't work out. He just wanted to go to Hungary where everyone's pretty racist.
Well, no, they said no, you can't because you're too much of a risk.
Yeah, but now Hungary is like a very right-wing country.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Hungary is they're on Russia's side, kind of, and
Ooh.
they've got like I can't remember the guy's name in charge, but he's like smart Trump.
Mm.
Yeah, and a lot
Okay.
of Trump's playbook came from Hungary. and
Oh,
vice
really?
versa,
I haven't,
yeah.
this is news to me.
Well, if you read,
Anything.
yeah,
I'd have a clue. 2009, 27th April, swine flu pandemic. Originating in Mexico, spreads to the UK. 2 cases.
boring.
Well, no, but this is what I mean. This is when pandemics didn't fucking matter. Do you remember how many we had? And it was like, oh, swine flu. And everyone, I think I got swine flu. It's like, no, you didn't. But
I know someone who got swine flu actually, and they lost like 30 pounds, and it was very devastating to their health.
Is it true?
Yes.
How much did they weigh originally?
I don't know their
'Cause
exact
it
weight
sounds like a
originally.
crash diet I could do
No,
with.
they were a young teen,
Okay. And what are they doing now?
living a normal, healthy life.
Good.
Red, just because there were lots of pandemics before there was the big pandemic doesn't mean.
But I just remember when pandemics were just like, they went, oh, bird flu or Ebola. And you're like, ooh. And then this one, you know,
I mean, Ebola is scary.
it's scary. It's terrifying. But the thing is with Ebola is that you know you've got it. So you don't just get on a fucking tube when you've got it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's why corona was such a intelligent disease, is that it can just survive and it doesn't even tell you you've got it. I'm still doing swabs when I go into some places. They make you do swabs still, and you're like, come on, it's over.
Yeah.
How do you feel
About the
about the big hoax?
about COVID.
No,
Well,
the Holocaust. No, I'm joking. COVID.
how do I feel about the COVID Holocaust?
Mm.
Well, I've stopped caring. Also,
Yeah, good.
I can't.
We did the jabs, boosted up. Jody, you still anti-vax?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
scared of the vaccine.
Yeah, I met a nice man outside the White House who was, very much protesting and telling me, like, very much how they need to stop it, and he gave me
What,
a
the
nice
vaccine?
pamphlet. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
You should have
and
brought it
against the
back. We could have read
COVID.
it out, read his workout. You
I
got to
don't-
shout him out. We can't just, what was his name?
Gerald.
Okay. And what, did you have a chat when you were in America about the vaccine?
I don't think we had a chat. He more talked at me whilst I tried to leave quickly. I do have his pamphlet. Yeah, so I can
Well,
bring
sometimes when a wizard is speaking to a child, the child must listen. And in that scenario, he is the wizard.
Well,
and
it's
you are
funny
the
because I don't
boy.
care if people have the vaccine or not. I couldn't give less of a shit. It's like, that's your choice completely. It's nothing to do with me.
Well,
I'm
actually,
vaccinated.
Now that we've found out pretty much that even if you've had COVID, you can get it over and over.
Yeah.
So, or even if you've been vaccinated, you can get over and over.
Yeah.
It really is actually a personal choice to get vaccinated.
Yeah, and I think it should be.
And I don't give a shit.
But I saw this, so there's a comedy lineup, and someone tweeted it going, one of the comedians on this lineup is a rapist, and the other one is an anti-vaxxer. And you're like, how does that stand side by side, you fucking moron?
Well, both might be true.
Yeah, I know, but what?
I do like.
How is that coming with that?
I did also see that, and I looked at the poster trying to figure out who was who.
If I was on that poster, I'd be fucking fuming. Like,
Yeah.
guess who? It's like, just say who it is, because, it's like that infamous promoter in comedy. I won't mention his name, but one of his acts, he had this agency, and he had this list of things when you sign for him. He'd go, Rule 1, I'm not your friend. Rule 2, you can never slag off the other acts on my roster publicly. But it turns out one of his acts had been a very bad man back in the day, was a teacher and molested a student and started comedy. And he did a gig one night, and he went, before the gig started, he got on stage and went, just so you know, we at this company do not condone paedophilia of any sorts. And just because one of our acts, it doesn't express what we feel. And then brought on an act.
It made it look like it was one of the acts on that night. They didn't understand he had an agency outside of that show.
Yeah.
So then the whole audience is just sitting there trying to figure out which act.
Yeah, done it. He had quite a fiery couple of months in comedy. I don't know what he does now, but
He crashed
I
and
wish him
burned.
well.
I wish him well also. Well, I think that's good.
That's us. We've smashed 2009. Well, I wouldn't say it was fine. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to go over to our Patreon now with some very, very juicy stuff. Thank you so much for listening.
I wish you well.
We wish you well. Thank you to our super genius Patreon, Spencer.
Christopher, Matthew. We couldn't do it without you.
Love you.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Year Is with me, comedian Bobby Mair, and my sometimes friend Red Richardson. This podcast has been produced by our brilliant producer, Jody Vandenberg. Thank you.